What's good, y'all? I've got some sick buffs for both Muck and Alolan Muck. Before I get into them, I want to have a quick disclaimer for anybody who's a new viewer here. First of all, welcome. Second of all, make sure you look at that Google Sheet. It's linked right below in the description. And if you look on screen, you can check all of these useful tabs right here on the bottom. Most importantly, this tab that says search all moves here. There's a giant list. I have reworked pretty much every single damn move in the game. They're all massively reworked, so I would just give them a look. They're all organized into categories. You can click it and it'll take you to the category. You know, you've got new priority moves and Draco Meteor type moves and just so many new moves, both utility and offensive moves. So do give those a look because those will greatly impact the way that literally every Pokemon functions. And you can also check out the other Pokemon buffs and changes on the Google Sheet while you're at it if you want. You know, bookmark it if you like this type of, change for Pokemon. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like this type of thing. With that out of the way, though, I did give Cantonian Muck especially some really nice new tools to keep it, more worth using over Alolan Muck. Not that you have a choice, especially in a Nuzlocke, which is kind of what this hack is balanced around somewhat. At least for experienced Nuzlockers is definitely what it's balanced around. But Muck and Alolan Muck are both super cool. Cantonian Muck has Water Absorb, which is a very, very fitting ability for him. I really love that ability, logic-wise, for him, because they are literally found in lakes normally, and they're like polluted water Pokemon. So I really like Water Absorb on them. Pure Poison type with Water Absorb is really, really good. Hold on, let me go to Muck. Pure Poison in general is great. However, keep in mind that Black Sludge is also buffed in this hack. Because Poison is my favorite type, that's literally the only reason they could also use the buff, honestly. It makes them incredibly useful, especially in this hack, not only because they resist Bug, especially First Impression, which is one of the most common priority moves in the game, but because of that buff Black Sludge, they can get 24% HP over 2 turns, so if you use Protect plus Black Sludge, you're basically getting a quarter of your HP back in those 2 turns, or, 12% in 1 turn. Very, very good item for any poison type. Even the frailer ones can still use Black Sludge for a lot of boss fights. Not that it's your only item. Other items like Assault Vest, choice items, berries especially are very useful in a ROM hack like this. But my point was, Pure Poison actually has more resistances than Poison Dark. Poison Dark still has good resist, don't get it twisted. It resists Grass, Ghost, Poison, and Dark. And then it only has 1 weakness to Ground and then an immunity to Psychic, while Cantonian Muck has an immunity to water when you have Water Absorb, which, by the way, keep in mind, every single Pokemon in this hack is balanced to have 2 useful abilities to switch between with an infinite use ability capsule. Keep that in mind. Pure Poison, however, has more resistances. It's Grass, Fighting, Poison, Fairy, and Bug. Bug resistance especially being valuable, in exchange for having 1 extra weakness, which is not a big deal. And you still have immunity to water, so you both have 1 immunity. So yeah, I'd say they're very, very equal type combinations. In fact, having that resistance to Fighting and Bug is actually arguably more useful in a lot of boss fights with that Pure Poison. I also really like both of them a lot. But yeah, that's Water Absorb logic for you. Gooey, very also fitting ability. Gooey is not great on them individually, meaning like with Gooey, you're not outspeeding anything. You have base 15 speed, which logically I think makes a lot of sense. They're literally a pile of sludge, and it also lets me make them a lot bulkier and stronger. So, as these giant piles of sludge, they should not be moving very fast. So Gooey is more for team support. So what you're doing is you're tagging on Gooey, because keep in mind, Water Absorb is not useful every boss fight, right? So when you have Gooey active, they touch you, they lose their speed. You can then Parting Shot out. Now the opponent is, say, -2 speed, -1 attack, -1 special attack, and now your next Pokemon that you switch in with Parting Shot has a much easier time dealing with whatever's in front of you. Gooey is especially useful for totem fights, but it's also just a good ability to have in general. Like I said, Water Absorb's not good every fight. As for Alolan Muck, Gluttony, this is actually, I believe, one of the only fully evolved Gluttony Pokemon. It's still, good old reliable Gluttony with the Gen 7 Pinch Berries, Figgy Berry type berry. You get to 50% HP, you heal back to full. It's just a good thing to have for a lot of boss fights, especially because in this ROM hack, you don't have access to healing items in battle, so you have to rely on reliable recovery moves, which pretty much every single Pokemon now gets access to. These guys both get Recover, and then I gave Cantonian Strength Sap, and I didn't give Alolan Muck Strength Sap because Alolan Muck is more about kind of purifying things, I guess, while Muck is literally just pollution. Alolan Muck cleans up pollution, is my point. So I don't see him using Strength Sap as much. I think it would be fine. Actually, you could argue if it's even more. I just mostly wanted Cantonian Muck to not seem underwhelming in comparison to the quote-unquote cooler Alolan Muck with the dual typing, because people just tend to gravitate towards that. So I gave Cantonian Muck Strength Sap. They both have Acid Armor, which gives +3 defense now. They have incredible coverage moves. I'm not even going to bother trying to get into every single coverage move here. What I will say is that Moonblast might seem like a weird choice, but they actually do learn Moonblast in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I believe it's some weird Pokedex lore with them coming from a ray of moonlight or something. As for their stats, they're both very bulky. They have slight variations in their stats. So Alolan Muck has 5 more in its physical stats, while Cantonian Muck has 5 more in its special stats. So Cantonian Muck has a little bit more special defense and special attack, while Alolan Muck has a little bit more physical attack and physical defense, which I just think makes sense for their designs and stuff, and it makes them a little bit less samey feeling. But yeah, they have incredible utility moves. Like I said, you got that Particle Shot, you got the Reliable Recovery, you got Toxic, which is less, has less distribution. All Pokemon in attack for the most part get priority moves, so they all have, Sludge Shot. Alolan has Night Burst and Stab, Sucker Punch, and Cantonian has Sucker Punch as well, and they have, First Impression and all these great moves that they can choose from. I don't have time to get into every single little option, but what I will say is I didn't cover this yet, so hopefully people don't sleep on Merciless. Merciless, not only is it pretty damn fitting for Alolan Muck, at least for its design, not so much for its personality, it's also a sick combo type ability because of the access to Toxic Spikes via TM. Keep in mind you don't have access to Mover Liner until the end of the game, so the difficulty is sort of balanced around the fact that you have to juggle your level up moves and your TMs and tutors. You do have access to infinite ability capsules and infinite EV training items, so you can easily just, for one boss fight, you'll run a special Muck with special moves, or a fully physically defensive Muck to just tank hits and use Black Sludge and Water Absorber, Gooey, whatever. You could run a full support Muck, full offense Muck, whatever you want to do, and you can switch between your attack and special attack very, very easily with that infinite EV training item, so that's really useful. My point was with Merciless, you can use special Muck especially, although honestly all sets are good with Merciless. For example, T-Spikes plus Sucker Punch is great with Merciless. You become very strong, you crit everything, you've got that strong stat priority, so that's a really fun option. T-Spikes, however, is great versus the AI because they're not going to have hazard removal, because this is not, competitive 6v6 singles. Giving them access to something that hazard removal move is a waste of a move slot on AI. They're not going to be able to use that properly. They also don't use hazards properly as well. The only ones they can really use properly are Sticky Web and Toxic Spikes, which will be on boss fights like Plumeria and Guzma. But regardless, Merciless is sick on Alolan Muck because it also allows you to ignore special attack drops or physical attack drops from Twilight Cannon and physical attack drop from Superpower. So those are really cool as well. You can spam Twilight Cannon and take nothing back, So, Twilight Cannon is either physical or special depending on your higher attacking stats. So depending on your EVs, IVs, and nature, you can get a special one, excuse me, in conjunction with Venoshock, which is now 140 base power under, when they're poisoned, 70 base power otherwise. So Venoshock plus Twilight Cannon is great. You can also run a mean mix set with Venoshock and Twilight Cannon and Sucker Punch, whatever you want to do. You have all types of great coverage that you can switch to when you need it. So they're great. They've got so much versatility. Again, that Black Sludge makes them really tanky. They're also just really tanky in general, but everything at attack is way stronger, so you are going to be taking a lot more damage from things. But it's such a good Pokemon. Both of them, they're awesome. I will say, though, that bug resistance and fighting resistance that Muck provides is a lot more valuable in a lot of situations. However, that Psychic Immunity and the Dark Stab is also very useful on Cantonian Muck. Alolan Muck. So it really just depends on your personal preferences, and also in a Nuzlocke, it's not like you get to pick anyway. I just want them to feel equal. So, and I think they feel very equal. You could even argue Cantonian's a little bit better because of Strength Stat, but I mean, I don't know. I think Alolan Muck had their time to shine anyways. Not that they're bad. They're an incredible Pokemon. I really love both of them. They're super sick. I think I'm just going to leave the video off here. I could talk about a few more things, like why I made them as mixed attackers. Just because I think it fits. They're these giant piles of sludge. They got a lot of special moves anyways. So I think it's cool that they can attack from both sides, especially with those infinite EV training items. You can easily choose whichever set you're running for that boss fight, depending on which coverage moves you need or whatever it may be. Yeah, that's really about it. I don't know what else to say. There's a couple other really cool options they have, but I think I can trust that you as the viewer will check out all the move buffs and changes in the Google Sheet, because I do not have time to cover every single one in these videos. Last thing I will say with Merciless, however, is that Scum Shot also pairs very nicely with Merciless, as well as Barb Barrage and Baneful Bunker. Baneful Bunker plus Merciless plus Black Sludge is incredible because you get, again, that double healing from Black Sludge, and then you can poison them during those turns and then crit them. So that's beautiful on Alolan Muck. Scum Shot is great. That is a +4 priority move that 60 base power and always poisons the opponent, and it always flinches. The downside being it only has 1 PP, so it's kind of like Fake Out, but you can use it on any turn. So you can send in your Alolan Muck, do whatever you want to do, and then you can Scum Shot, poison them, flinch them, and then crit them with your next attack, for example, Sucker Punch or whatever you want to do, and take them out. So that's a really nice little combo you can use as well. Scum Shot is definitely useful, especially for totem fights. You can get that free flinch plus free poison on them. So very, very useful. Overall, these guys are both great. Awesome utility, awesome bulk, awesome offensive capability. Very well-rounded Pokemon. I love them. Hopefully, anybody who didn't like Monk before likes them a little bit more now. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. I appreciate you listening this far into the video. You're the real MVP. Shout out to you. Peace.